So, who are we?
Where did we come from?
That's the question everyone seems to be asking us. So, I'm Eddie.
I'm Kiernan.
And we are a couple who's, on an entrepreneurship journey.
Yeah.
We have a daughter, so we're parents.
Yes.
That's exciting.
She's 2 now. And we started our entrepreneurial journey when we actually had her. She was about 3 months old, I would say, and we were broke, exhausted, and wondering where we could get a little bit of fulfillment out of life from.
Yeah, I definitely think we were kind of at a point when we were not in a good spot at all, were we? We were in a bad spot. We were living in a one-bedroom apartment that was about 600 square feet, just the 3 of us living in that one bedroom. It was crowded, and we wanted change, and that was really what started. And so
we had 2 cats.
Oh,
and
my
the
gosh,
one-bedroom apartment was very small, like shoebox, and
it was horrible.
we hated it there. We didn't even really like being home. My
No.
parents would ask us to come house sit, and we're like, yes, please, we want to come house sit.
We took any chance not to be there, right? And so that was when we started kind of looking. We're like, we've got to do something because our jobs aren't doing it. We're working hard at our jobs, but we're not getting anywhere. So what can we do?
We were working like 2 or 3 jobs.
I was working 2 jobs. I was working a full shifts too. So I was like doing 16 hours a day. So I was getting 4 hours of sleep really.
With a graveyard.
Yeah, with a newborn baby, by the way. So 2 shifts, newborn baby. Yeah, it was hell.
I don't think we knew what sleep was.
No, we definitely didn't. And so then we knew we wanted more. And so we looked for opportunities, and that's when we got approached with direct sales. And that was really started the wheels turning. It got us around a lot of people that just their mindset was just, I was blown away like by the relationship they had with money, the relationship they had with others, the relationship they had with business. Like everything was just the relationship they had with work. I went from having to always work hard to realizing that you need to work smarter just as hard.
Yeah. We started also like paying attention to the people that were like rich, right? We were paying attention to the people that were wealthy and looked limitless, and I think that we were really like, how are they doing it? How did they get there? We can barely afford food right now.
Yeah, it was a struggle. And so I think that's really where we knew we needed to make a change. And we searched for a long time before you finally came across how to start a blog. You were how to start a blog online was your first. That was your after direct sales. Then came that because you were like, all right, well, it just opened up the door.
Yeah, we were a few months into direct sales, and we really weren't getting anywhere with it. And I know a lot of people fail with direct sales, and a lot of people succeed. And I think the difference between that is a lot of things, but one that really is personal to me is I didn't really care about what I was selling. I didn't really want or think that other people should or want it, right?
Yeah, and I think we did really good. We hit bonuses within our first month. Like we made good money our first month into it. We killed it.
Yeah.
And then that was what flipped for me though, because it was a lot of work. To get to where we got was a lot of work. It took some help, and that was kind of what hit me of like, if I'm going to put this much work into something, I want it to be for my own thing. I don't want it to be building somebody else's business. I want to put that much work into something and have it be my own business. And in a way it is, right?
Yeah.
But it's not, because you're still selling somebody else's product. You're only getting a cut for what they're selling. And so it's not all yours. And I was like, if I'm going to put this much work into it, I want it to be more than this. And so that was where I started looking to others. Plus, like you said, it wasn't a product I was told. I loved it. We still take it from time to time, right? But it wasn't something we still use it. It wasn't something that inspired me to do though, and I wasn't passionate about it.
Yeah, I feel like, at least for me, I want to do what I truly, truly love, and that just wasn't quite it.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and it wasn't, and I definitely believe in the philosophy that you can't always, there's going to be times where you have to do stuff you hate, right, in order to get through to stuff. So, one of those things was really struggling, and we hated that, but we knew we wanted something more, and so we started up the Yoga Stay, and that was really good. That was a good journey for you. It was mostly you. I just kind of sat on the side for a long time with that when we first started.
Yeah, you kept doing direct sales for a while. We kept doing it. I actually, for like probably another like few months to a year, and then we were like, we literally have not gotten anywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember that the reason I looked up on Pinterest how to start a blog was because, remember, we had like hit our goals for that month, and we were like, yeah, we did really good. And then day one next month, it reset. And I was like, we're at 0? We're what? I was pissed. And I was like, nope, there's got to be a better way. And then I like, online, people make money online all the time. Like, what other ways are there to do it? So I think I typed in not how to start a blog, but I typed in how to make money online. I remember I was laying in bed. It was like way late at night. On my phone, still sleeping. Welcome to 2000, whatever. But yeah, I typed it in, and up popped how to start a blog. And I had kind of dabbled in looking into starting a blog. I started like a WordPress.org, the free one. Org or com?
.com, yeah.
No, com's I can't remember.
Either way.
Anyway, so I looked into that before, kind of started a little blog, yada yada, and then I hit create and go.
Yeah.
And they were like, do this, do this. It was like step by step, how to do it, how to start your blog, and I was like, done. I'm in it. I'm going to do it. What do I like to do? I love yoga. I'm a yogi. I'm starting teacher training like 2 months from now. I'm in it. I'm done. I'm with it. So I just like next day had it all going.
Yeah, you took off. You took out of the gate running, and I kind of just sat on the side like, all right, you go do that. And I still kept on trying to do the direct sales for a while, but it's direct sales is hard. Anyone who says anything bad about direct sales, like, I really want to try to change their mind, because it is some of the hardest type of work. It's mentally draining being told no 1,999 times before you're told yes once. And that yes once is so satisfying when you do get it, though, that it's awesome. But it is really hard work, and it can be really draining. And so it was doing that to me. And I was getting drained, and we're building the Yoga Stay, and I was still getting drained. And then that was kind of when I was like, all right, if we're gonna continue to do this, we have to put this energy into just the Yoga Stay. And so we finally came to the point of like, direct sales, as much as I love you and as fun as you've been,
it felt good to say goodbye to that.
It did. It was feeling heavy, so getting rid of it was really good.
And that's another thing that we really adopted lately is heavy, light. If it feels heavy, why do it? If it feels light and fun and exciting, go for it.
Yeah.
Direct sales just didn't feel like that for us.
Exactly. And it didn't. And for me too, like, coming from a family that didn't have any there was no entrepreneurship blood in my family. My dad didn't own his own business. He did not until I was a teenager at some point, and even then it was like, it wasn't much, I mean, he tried, but it was always, growing up, it was always work. Like, you gotta work hard, you gotta work hard. And if you aren't gonna work hard, you gotta go to college. You gotta get good grades in school. And I graduated with a crap GPA. I barely graduated high school. So I was always told, like, you're never gonna be nothing. You might as well just learn how to work hard. Thankfully, I do have a darn good work ethic where I do work really hard, but I work hard. I was working hard in the wrong places. I was working hard on somebody else's dream, on somebody else's goal, instead of realizing all these opportunities that were out there. And so I'm not a very big fan of the saying that entrepreneurs are boring. They're not. You can't teach them. You can't teach entrepreneurship. But that's a saying. It's definitely old school, because I didn't grow up necessarily being anything entrepreneurial, It wasn't something that just came to me.
We're more in an age where we can work smarter and not necessarily harder. Yeah. I feel like, years ago, maybe 10, 20, maybe like 20 years ago, it wasn't necessarily that way.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Well, yeah, but even now, a lot of people still have that same mindset, right? It's like either work hard or go to college. There's no other choice. That's what you do. You either go get a great job at some office somewhere, you climb the ladder, or you go to college and do the same thing, but you start off at a higher level, right? Instead of at the bottom. And it's really kind of a suck way of thinking, because it really didn't get me anywhere. Like, I was working hard, busting my butt for companies, and I wasn't getting much for. A little bit of an annual raise here and there, if I even got one. If I'm coming from a small town, you only worked for mom and pop shops who the owners were the managers. There was no management positions. There was just
forget
that position and nothing else. It's very rare to find a place you could work in my town where, you could, but it was retail. And I don't know if you ever worked retail, but I'd rather never ever do that again. So I wasn't a fan to go back to these retail stores and try to work it up. So
it's rough.
Yeah, right. And so coming from that, the hardest part about the whole entire entrepreneurship journey was changing my mindset. And so going through that transformation was a struggle at first, because there's oftentimes things you hear that you're kind of like, oh, that's whatever, because you don't grow up necessarily, and grow up like hating wealthy people or the people that had the money, right? But you grew up not really thinking about how they got there. You kind of just grew up thinking they just got it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I grew up thinking. Right? It wasn't like, oh, it was like your family's rich. Like,
Yeah.
It was never really like, oh, how'd your family do that? How'd your family come into money? Like, that was never the question.
Or people that had really, like, I had a neighbor down the street from us that we lived in this neighborhood, and they were really wealthy, lawyer, another really wealthy doctor, they went to school for that.
Yeah.
That's how they obtained their money, because they're smart.
See, and coming from Sun Valley, it was totally different. A lot of the people that lived there are people that have started their own businesses, that grew them to millions and billions of dollar businesses, that, have homes there. And so those were kind of the people you saw around, and they were the entrepreneurship. Granted, you still had your lawyers and doctors, of course, but those are going to be just about everywhere, right? So I think that was something, but I never thought of it. I was like, oh, cool, you guys own that business, and everyone knows that. I'm not going to name those businesses, but like the businesses that we all know and use every single day. And I'm like, oh, your parents started that? Dang, that wasn't my thought. My thought was like, oh, they got lucky, or oh, no wonder why you got money. It was never like, dang, your parents had to work hard for that. And so going through this mindset change really was huge for me. And reading books, it was the biggest thing. Finding people to be surrounded by. Mm-hmm. So coming from this mindset of, not having a good relationship with money or business or anything. The only good relationship I had was work. Like, my work ethic. That was really it. And so to go through the mindset journey I did to change and realize that, you can literally do anything and provide a service for people. And if you can find a way to do that, and you can find a way to help people, and that's what it's about. If you can find a way to help people, you can have a successful business. And realizing that, I was like, oh my gosh, what can I do to help people then? Like, how can we help them? And that's where I feel like we're at now. We're kind of at that stage now where we've been through our mindset so long. We've been growing other businesses so long that I now am ready to be like, I want to help you. I want to help others, and I want to have them grow, because I think that's the fun part of all this.
Well, and people come to us and they're like, how do you plan on making money with a blog? A blog?
Just like that, guys, by the way.
It feels like that.
That accent and everything is exactly how it's said.
And I used to just explain, and then I'd get just blink, blink, crickets.
A blank face stare back.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm talking, and you no longer care. I don't know why you asked. I'm tired of repeating myself, for one, but I also want to make this for oh, well, if you really want to know how I start, how we're going to, do this and that, listen to our podcast, and hopefully it'll inspire them to do the same, because it is cool to watch, you're hustling, you're grinding, you're doing your thing, and then all of a sudden, boom, people are like, oh, I'm going to do this, and you're like, yes, let's go, let's do it together, right. And then you just want to spill everything you know. And
I think that's kind of what got us started with doing this idea of InWaken in the first place, kind of, right? Because where we did come from, it changed our mindset, and then we had other people seeing that change and seeing that mindset shift, and seeing how far we had come in the little time that we have, and being like you guys are really onto something, and we've inspired others already. I mean, you got Vidi, who she's changed a lot, and I mean, whether or not that's directly us, but she's definitely has said how proud of it,
yeah.
She
definitely
is.
Not directly us, but
yeah.
She started her autism thing today, and I'm just so proud.
I know, she did. That's going to be really fun for her to do. But she has told us many times, or you at least many times, about how, she's proud of how we've kept on going at this and how we've done it. And so I would definitely say we've definitely inspired her to do that, you know. And
My parents started a podcast.
Yeah, we got your parents to start a podcast because of what we've been doing. And they were like, wow, this really can be done.
I was like, yeah. But I think it also not even just inspires people to be an entrepreneur or want to make money, because we did kind of start for the money, even though that quickly rerouted.
Yeah, that definitely changed.
Because you can't do things for money.
No,
but,
cannot.
I mean, you can't, but, you know.
You know what I mean. There has to be a bigger why than money.
Yeah, you have to have your why. You have to have. But I think that it's cool to inspire people and notice that they didn't start from the money. They started from, oh, that kind of sounds fun. It's something to do or something to grow on or this and that. I don't know why, really, but...
Well, and then seeing our mindset change, that helped others when all of a sudden we were no longer doing things that we used to do. We were no longer spending our nights out on the weekend partying and doing that stuff. And that kind of people, I mean, granted, having a daughter helped us not do that, right? But they saw that, and then seeing us working all the time, like, hey, what are you guys doing Sunday? You guys want to come hang out? Like, sorry, we're working. We got stuff to do. And they're like, you work on a Sunday? And we're like, yeah, man, we got a blog that we're trying to build. We got businesses we're trying to grow.
Which is one of the biggest struggles, at least for me, for both of us, but is, you know, you do your normal 9 to 5, you come home, and then you're grinding, and people are like, you want it? And you're like, yeah, I want it.
Yeah, I want to, but I can't.
The FOMO kicks in.
Yeah, FOMO is so real. You know, definitely that fear of missing out definitely sometimes affects you, but not really, not you, but me, like you, in general. And so,
and I'm a believer too,
you know, but
to say yes sometimes, and
yeah.
It depends. You need to get your priorities straight, but I think it's more important to have playtime for yourself.
Well, and that's something too that I think
get some sanity.
Yes, exactly. And that's something that as you grow your mindset and as you go through a journey like this, things that you hear at the very beginning of your journey, and then you hear them again now,
they change.
It's different. Like, you know, hearing stuff like, you know, I remember the people in the direct sales always saying, don't be going to the lake on the weekends. You don't need to be doing that. You know, you got to build your dream. Don't be wasting your weekends at the bar. If you are, you're sitting on the couch watching Netflix.
And then you see them on a freaking yacht.
Hold on. No. If you're sitting there on no, that's not where I'm going. If you're sitting down watching Netflix, like, that's not how you're going to grow your dreams. And so then I always took it of, like, if I wasn't doing something, if I was not working on the business, that I felt bad. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't go on a boat. I'm not going to build my dream. I can't go out to the bars. I'm not going to build my dream that way. And so that's how I really thought for the longest time. And so anytime people would complain about their job or complain about what they are in life, I'm like, what are you doing this weekend? Like, oh, I'm going to go out to the bar with some friends. I'm like, that's why you're complaining. How about you stop going to the bar and you start doing that? And that's what I would always say. It was like my go-to answer. And now that I'm farther along in my journey, I've realized it's okay to go out and have friends and do things still. However, it's not okay to do that every single weekend or every single night. You have to have it in moderation, just like everything else.
See, and I used to see it as like, they're like, oh, don't go boating on the weekend, don't da-da-da-da, don't do that, don't do this. And I was like, okay, I gotta focus. Yes. And then you see a picture of them on a yacht, like I was saying, and it pisses you off. You're like, why can you play and I can't? Even though that, I feel like now they take it as, get your priorities straight. Are you doing this every weekend? Are you doing that every weekend? But to allow yourself to also live and be human and have that play time. I'm trying to shoot a video here. If you can stop vacuuming.
So our upstairs neighbor decided they wanted to vacuum, so that's good.
Oh.
Anyways.
But yeah, I think that...
See, and I never had that, because for me, when I would see them on their boat on the weekend or their yacht or traveling and partying, I thought the exact opposite. I thought they got there because of what they said. They got there because they did not go out on the weekends and they stayed inside and just grinded away on their business every single day, 365 for 2, 3, 4, 5 years to get to where they're at. So I didn't see it as them preaching it and then being on their boat. I saw it as them preaching it, being on their boat, saying, if you want to get to where I'm at, this is what you got to do. So I didn't take it that way of like, oh, now you're on your boat, who are you preaching me? I definitely never took it that way. I mean, it's fine that you did, obviously. I'm just saying, like, that's how I took that, because I would think the same thing. I'm like, well, who are you preaching to me while you're on your yacht? And then I'm like, well, I guess you probably did that for 5 years, but I definitely have gone through a different mindset on that of being like, okay, it's not that you should do it. It's not that you shouldn't do it. It's just that you shouldn't do it all the time. Limit when you're going to do it.
Priorities.
Yes.
Get that shit straight.
And you alluded to that earlier. It's just about priorities. Get it straight, and then you should be fine. Yeah. So we're gonna have to put an explicit warning on this podcast now because you said shit. So that's good.
Shit.
Shit. Damn it.
But yeah, so I think mindset is always changing and always evolving, and that's half the fun, I think, too.
It is half the fun, and that's going to be the fun part of this whole entire journey with InWaken, is being able to put that out there for other people to see and be inspired with, and hopefully pick up the tools and not make mistakes that we did, and understand that certain things are okay, and you don't have to. I just feel like we're going to put it really raw out there, and that's something that you don't often see. I want people to understand and follow our journey. I want them to see our failures and our success. And I want to be transparent about that. I don't want to hide from the camera about when we failed at something. Like, I want to be able to be honest and talk about it, because failures are a part of this. But it's not about when you fail. It's about when you succeed. Don't count your losses, count your wins.
Yeah. And I also want to put it out there that we still have 9-to-5 jobs, even though... But, and I don't love my 9-to-5 job, but I have to do it right now, and we're going to get there. So I think it's going to be really cool one day to look back and hear me saying that right now and look around and like, I made it. We did it. And to show other people the transition, because that can be painful. It's hard, the transition, the uncomfortableness to get there.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, right? And I think that's, and it sucks because I think that's something that people sometimes hide away from. And I think there's definitely people out there that are able to have this grand idea because they know everything, like full stack developing, and they can just start a business overnight because they just built an app or built something crazy, right? But there's still the old school way of doing something. There's still the old school way of building something from the ground up and having good marketing that's going to bring people in. And that's really what we're doing here. So we do have the 9-to-5 jobs. Mine's actually 6 to 2:30 job, but whatever. No one's counting hours. And being able to one day look back on this and be like, these are the businesses we started. Look what we grew them to. We no longer are in that spot of 9-to-5. We're now working from the hotel room in Florida as we're about to go to Disneyland or Disney World, Like,
with my top off?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Great image. Great image to provide for...
On the balcony.
I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, if there's anybody who would do that, it's definitely you.
Embarrassed now.
Are you embarrassed? You said it, be. And we're not going to edit that part out, so I'm going to make sure that definitely stays in. That's really funny, but it's very true. You love being free like that at times, so did you just steal yourself from the camera?
Yeah, why would I say that?
You just gotta let it be. It's fine.
All right.
But I really hope this podcast has really been more, and this video has really been just informative information, because I really think that's what we want you guys to do, is get to know us so that you can trust us and we can build that relationship where we can be that inspiration to you. And that's really what gets me ticking nowadays, is when I can help people. I mean, recently we've come across 2 people that have kids that it's been really fun to watch us kind of change their mindset about stuff a little bit and get them more involved into finding their inner self and being inspired to do things differently than what they have been before. And it's been really fun, and so I'm gonna love doing that with others here.
Yeah, it's definitely my favorite part, and eventually you will get to come along the journey with us, fail and succeed and rise with us. So.
Exactly, and that's what we're here for too, and wake and all that, and let it be part of you and us, and it's gonna be a good journey, and I'm really glad to have you guys a part of it, especially you. So
yeah, you're the best.
You're the best, even when you're on the balcony topless.
Oh no! Why did we bring it up again? Anyways, yeah. So there is our story of who we are and where we came from.
Perfect. I really appreciate you guys listening. You guys have a good one.
Bye.